So the stream is going. I do want to remind everyone also, we have a nice webinar coming up at 1, not at noon today, at 1. All right. I don't think either are real reliable, Roz. That's the problem. Neither are reliable. We have nothing but inconsistency on this report. What I might consider on the MNQ is after it makes a
Zelensky's
new high or a new
offices
low,
attended. Zelensky's offices
do a
attended.
reversal after it makes a new high or a new low. In other words, what I was going to do on the MNQ
And Trump says we're going
is
to buy
put
more military equipment.
I'll trade the bracket, okay? I'll trade the bracket, the breakout, and I'll only trade it with two contracts, one and one, okay? So it's not a very big loss if it doesn't work. And I'm going to set up a magnet and I'm going to look for ARS signals, making a new high, making a new low, and reversing off of that. All right? And I'll explain what I mean. So, first thing is I'm not doing a reverse continue on the MNQ. I'm just putting up our breakout. $829.59. The bracket is 40 this morning. I'll do two contracts on the first target. Uh, the stop is 125. So if you divide 125 in half, that's ballpark how many dollars the stop is. What is that, 62.50? I can't even think anymore. Target one stop move. First of all, target one is 20. Not that big on the first target. Target two is 75. Now, what we've seen on the MNQ on this report is sometimes no movement. Okay. We've had recent no fills, not great movement all the time. So, it's possible we might not get a fill on the MNQ. It's a 20-second cancel. All right. I think today we're getting a big move. That's what I think.
Trump said
So
the
the
report
setup
is
on the
obviously
breakout,
going to make him big.
829.59, 20 on target one, 75 on target two, BE minus 10 if it hits my first target, 125 on the stop. Label it MNQBRK. Leaving it on sim for a minute because we'll test our
So U.S.
bracket.
Foreign Secretary Howard Lutnick currently speaking at Davos.
Going to put the chart on sim. However,
Order submit. Order canceled.
the problem is when I'm looking for levels, I have to shrink the chart. All right. So we'll start with our breakout for
Order submitted.
MNQ.
Order canceled.
It does look like the MNQ wants to make a new high already. Putting the time back to 8:29, 40 on the bracket, 20 and 75 on target one and target two, 125 on the stop. Target one stop move is break even minus 10. I'm going to trade this in the same eval. Should be able to do all of that in the same account. Or, it can trade in a smaller account. Let's leave it. Let's leave it where it is for simplicity this morning. Bear with me. Let me just check one thing. Now, you know what? I want to
According
keep
to
the
Ukraine,
trade
despite
separate.
Finland
So we'll
saying
do it in
Zelensky and Trump
34.
meeting
It's
was
another
good.
eval. Apply it. Okay, so we have our breakout. on the MNQ, all right? But I'm setting up a magnet on the MNQ, a high of day, low of day. Proximity's 3. First target is default, -3. Second target is 10, okay?
Trump says we're going to have
Position
a
1
credit, but now it's
is
too
2
early.
contracts, position 2 is 1. Everybody's magnet does what I'm doing now.
Lutnick
High of day,
finally
low
on
of day,
further, saying our
proximity
relations are
3.
perfectly fine.
Choose your risk in terms of number of contracts, position 1 and 2. First target, target 1 ticks offset, default is -3. Target 2 offset is a 10. Stop is 100. Okay, that's all you need to fill out initially on the magnet. All right, label it MNQ magnet. And I'm not saying trade a magnet on this. You don't even have to set up this trade as a magnet. I'm going to use the new version to look for signals. So I'm not really putting on a high of day, low of day trade. I'm actually turning it off with the new software, but I'm leaving the signals on. And if we make a new high and reverse off of that on the news, I'm going to look for an entry.
Lutnick says the Greenland
Okay,
framework is based on
I'm
national
looking for an
security.
entry after we make a new high or a new low. We're obviously very close to the new high, so I think it's more probable we're going to make a new high, new low. The biggest issue this morning for a high of day, low of day magnet is we're so close to the high of day, it might actually be better just as a VWAP magnet. If I was really going to trade it as a magnet for real, for you all out there, you have to trade it as a custom level where you put the price of 25,612
At
into the
8:30 a.m.
custom
Eastern
level
Time, we
price
have US
box.
initial jobless claims
And then
reading
I would use a
290K
target of
for the
about
prior,
20 ticks.
198K, with a
Okay.
range of 220K to 196K. US GDP
All right.
quarter-on-quarter final,
So I'm
4%
using a 40
2.1%,
bracket
unchanged from the prior,
on
with a
the
range of
MGC.
4.8%
Oh,
to
wait, on
4.2%.
MGC breakout,
US
Roz?
GDP price
Or
index
MNQ?
forecast 3.2%,
MGC?
unchanged from the prior. US
What do we
GDP
say?
data,
20,
prior 3.8%.
35
US core PCE prices.
bracket. I believe we
Lutnick
said a
says the next
35
CME trade deal
bracket
will
and a
probably
50
be put
stop.
on
35
hold.
bracket and a
So Lutnick says
50
the
stop.
US-EU trade deal will probably be put on hold. US core PCE
Now,
prices
I
final
want to be really
forecast
clear.
2.9% unchanged from the prior.
This
US
is a
consumer durable
trade
claims
that has been
forecast
inconsistent
1.89
for
million,
years,
prior
and it's reached a
1.84 million.
point
US
where
PCE prices final prior
it's probably
2.8%.
better to watch it. And there's a couple of trades this week that fall into that category.
Trump says Zelensky meeting was good.
All right. And that doesn't mean anything. It just means this particular report hasn't been presenting a consistent setup. When that happens, we have to deal with what we've been given. All right. And what we've been given is inconsistency. So I do think that the news today is going to be strong GDP. I do think that. It's been quite a few months that we've had what we call a breakout for all, where everything moves, right? As a breakout. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a pretty good move. It's no guarantees of anything, right? But with the magnet, if you do set up a magnet on gold and on MNQ, with the high of day magnet, remember you can move your order, right? So If I have a high of day gold trade set up, right? Here's my order, but the real interesting thing is the lower order. I could move that order to test the VWAP so that if the price goes short on the MNQ on this magnet, now it's actually testing the VWAP. Okay? It's actually testing the VWAP. Just because you say high of day, low of day, doesn't mean you have to do that area. In the version you all have, it will leave the target down by the low. In the new version, if we move our order and we target the VWAP like that, it'll exit at the VWAP also. It's a very interesting feature. I have a little bit of mixed feelings about the feature because there's never perfection. We never have perfection. We always want perfection, but we never get it. Sometimes you've got two levels that are too close together. For instance, if this orange line here, that I hope you can see where my mouse is right here, that's the previous open. If that line is too close to the low of day, and I want my order to test the low of day, with the way we've written the software, it'll target the previous open. So sometimes you have to just make sure you're aware of where your target's going to be. And I'll explain that. As soon as the new version's released, we're going to have a master class on it. And we'll go over all the new features because there's a lot of really cool new features. But for you all, in a chart like this, if you turn on a high of day, low of day magnet, you can test the previous open, right? By moving your order above. Just remember, your target's going to be down here. And you'll want to move it up probably if you get filled. I would not expect to get an instant fill of that particular area. It's too far away. But I would not want to have an order live for the high of day. It could create in other words, this order here, I would get it out of here. Why would I get it out of here? Not because I don't believe we're going to test the high, but in a report like GDP, it's just like trading a breakout. All of the bad fills, the bad liquidity at the exact moment of the trade defeats the purpose of doing it as a magnet. One of the main purposes of using magnets is to reduce risk. Forgetting all the good things about magnets, but it also can help to reduce risk. All right, it's a big part of it. And when you have an order that's almost like having a breakout order, all of the negatives of data feed issues, maybe not getting a good fill, rear their ugly head in a magnet trade, and that's not what I want in this particular event. Now, probably, if I were smarter, we would just trade a gold high of day, low of day magnet. But you do have to be careful because you could still get a breakout kind of fill because it could definitely move 90 ticks, approximately 90 ticks, and try to blast through a magnet high of day test order. Okay. All right, so a reminder, what do we got going? We've got a breakout on the MNQ. All right. We have a one contract breakout on gold. Those are definite high risk. All right. We have the ability to do a reverse continue on gold. All right. And then we got to go right to oil after this trade. And don't forget Thursday
Looks like
jobless
Europe
claims
overreacted over Greenland.
or trading also. All right. So we have a minute to go.
1 minute remaining. I'll be leading with US GDP quarter on
Let's
quarter
see
final.
if the GDP is very high. My brackets are all messed up. That much I know. So I'm going to watch gold. We are recording, so we'll go back and look at everything. Watching gold, watching everything.
Ten seconds.
Our brackets will show up a couple of seconds before the news.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Uh, Interesting. Wouldn't allow me to trade the
4.4%,
gold trade.
4.4%,
So
final call for
that's a
4.4%.
mystery.
US initial jobless
That's a
claims,
mystery.
200K,
MNQ, no
209K.
move. I would
US
cancel
Price
that.
Index,
Order
I don't want to be
canceled.
3%.
filled at the
US
top
GDP
of the
deflector,
move.
3.7%,
Okay.
3.7%. US core PCE prices,
Now,
2.9%, 2.9% as expected. US continued jobless claims,
I
1.84
guess I
million,
cannot
1.84
trade
million.
this
Lower buying
account.
pressure, 1.8
Order
million.
submitted.
Yeah, I
US GDP
can't
prices
trade
final, 2.3%,
this particular account.
2.2%.
And I'm honestly not sure why, to be
New prior
honest.
revised for initial
I
jobless
have a
claims,
funny feeling. I don't know
199K
why.
compared to the
So
original prior
I'll
of
just leave that as
198K.
is.
Prior revised for
MNQ,
continuing
the
claims,
breakout is
1.768 million
canceled. Okay.
compared to the
The
original prior
MNQ
of
breakout is canceled.
1.884 million.
Now, we didn't test the
FOMC US
high,
GDP
so we did not get a
GDP figures
signal
requested.
when price changed direction. Also, you have green candles. Those are not short signals, okay? There has not been a short signal left. The news, little bit higher than expected, little bit higher than expected. Now I'm kind of sorry I didn't set up a reverse continue on the MNQ, which is easy to set up real quick. Reverse continue. Let me just throw up two contracts. A 40 tick target, a 75 tick stop. Now it's too
US
late,
gold
okay?
trades last
That was
down
what I
US
wanted to
economic
catch.
data, last down
No
2.8%.
signal because we were too far from the high of day, but it was still a valid signal if you know how to read them. And you have to watch the candles. Normally, I don't like taking a short on green candles. So you might not have been able to get into that trade. It just might not have been good timing. Okay? Sometimes that'll happen. Now, my gold trade, that was an unsafe, let's look at the video. Looked like an unsafe kind of breakout. But I'll tell you what, before we look at anything, let's look at a couple of instruments. Let's look at, just for fun, 6E0326. You've got a very big wick. Okay, it kind of looks like it might have moved somewhat similar to the way gold moved. Okay, NQ0326. This was not a breakout for all, folks. That's a whipsaw candle. Okay, got to do more investigation. That's a whipsaw candle. Looking at the YM. Possibly a more tradable move on the YM. It could have gone up first. Okay, you got to do a little work on that. Not a very big move. So up. So YM breakout looks like maybe. Okay, maybe YM on that. And 2 minutes, 29 ticks. You know, what if you had a 30 bracket and you have 2 minutes, 29 ticks, right? That's a problem. That's not a very big profit. In fact, it's none. All right, RTY. This did not move nearly as much as I would have thought that it was going to move. So really not a dramatic move. It's just the way it is. Looking more at a 1 second chart, which I think will be more helpful. If we look at the 1 second chart and go back to the time of the news, let's see if we can get a better feeling for what happened. So on that 1 second chart, right at the time of the news, $8.30 was in here. So it's interesting, but there was not very big movement exactly when the news was released. There was a push up on the RTY once the news was released. There was a push up. I believe that's probably the trade candle, but it's tiny. It's tiny. Did anybody trade anything where they had an interesting or profitable trade on that? That's only a 4-tick candle. RTY, also a pretty small move. It went up, not very much. Went down, not very much. So very, very surprising. Just the minimal reaction. 6J. And then we're going to go over to oil. I want to go over to oil, folks. Not seeing much. Let me check one thing. Not much volume happening there on 6J. So there just wasn't much going on, honestly. Not much going on. Very surprising. The news was not. Now look at the wick on the 6J at the exact moment of the news. Very often a wick like that means not a good fill. That was a 32 tick wick and not a whole heck of a lot of volume. Yes, it was much more than what came before it, but still not a lot. All right, but I agree with Arthur. This was pretty much a nothing burger trade. Just not much happening. Very surprising. Looking at gold. we'll look at the video. Let's look at the video on gold, and then we'll go over to oil. So let's take a quick look. Generally, the one important thing that we have a lot of knowledge about is what are the best of the best reports. We know that right
Welcome everyone
now,
to the Pro Trader Room
GDP is
Plus.
not a best of the best. So you don't want to trade cash and you don't want to trade funded. If you're going to trade, sim it or trade after the news if there's an opportunity. All right. Now, sometimes we do all this analysis of what happened at the exact moment and we miss after the news opportunities. Sometimes we have to not do this and just keep waiting. So at 8:30, watching gold on the left. For whatever reason, it stopped me. It never looked like it even went through the orders and generated an error. Then looking at the MNQ didn't even fill. Didn't even fill. And yes, that is correct, Arthur. Oil is at noon. Oil's at noon today. So just generally a very strange report, everyone. We're going to start from scratch now for our market open on oil. And let's go to oil. So let's start the room with a new recording.
Bank of America's CEO Moynihan says the card cap would slow spending and slow availability.
And we also have
Moynihan says the bank industry is working on a solution for cards.
other news. We've got the PCE price index today also at 10 o'clock. That's another report, total inconsistency, unexpected data. It's not even releasing the current data. In other words, the government shutdown has created months of instability on some of these breakout trades. And that instability will be caught up, I believe, by next month. By next month, all the data releases should be pretty much back to normal. And it's not to say we'll have better setups, because then we need a little bit time to gather better setups, because we have months of setups that we can't use the data because they're anomaly setups. They're not normal. And there seems to be inconsistency now on the PCE price index. It's showing at 10 o'clock today. It used to be an 8:30 report 4 or 5 months ago. And then going forward, when I looked up the release dates, it seems to be going back to 8:30. So it is a very confused report. And when you don't get consistency of time and you don't get consistency of data, it makes for very complicated trading.
And Bank of America's Moynihan say they are talking
But
to the administration
those are
about
good
affordability
times
issues.
to set up magnets. So at 10 o'clock, we'll take a look and we'll see what the market offers. All right. So for now, let's go over to oil. So let me start the room properly. If you do not know the correct instrument to trade, then all you need to know is the prefix. I'll show you. Let me intro the room. Welcome everyone to the Pro Trader Room Plus, Oil Open, US Open, PCE Price Index. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. All right. If you don't know the correct contract, but you know the prefix, just click on a blank area of the chart a couple of times with your left mouse and type CL. Nothing else. No space, just CL. Then look down below. If you're on all It'll show you all the instruments. If you're on just futures, it'll just show you the futures with that prefix. Double click CL future, crude oil futures. That's the correct one. All right. CL 326 is the correct oil future. And I am looking to trade this in my funded account. Let's take a fast look at what oil's been doing. And we've been also trading YM magnets in the morning. So I'll tell you what, let's set up our YM real quick. YM chart on the right. Right click, reverse continue. Click News Trader, change the breakout to a reverse continue. $35 target, 35 stop, discretionary trade. I got to figure out where I can trade this. I should be fine in 34. That should be fine. All right. We're going to label it YM reverse continue. Apply it. Okay it. So we have a YM reverse continue. I had an MNQ magnet. I'm going to update it. Magnet high of day, low of day. Percent proximity is a 3. Position 1 is a 1 for a -3 target. Position 2 is a 1 for a 15 tick target. All right, we want to go through the magnet 15 ticks, and our stop is 50 in the morning on the magnet. I'm not going through everything I have to do on the new version. Label it YM magnet. Okay. So it's a high of day, low of day. Choose the account you're trading it in. Apply it and okay it. When you turn on the magnet, now we are close to the high. That's our problem this morning. We're a little bit too close to the high at the moment. I'd like to see more of a pullback. All right. Notice we got our nice signal that worked perfectly. You can't use structure this morning because we've already made a new high. Normally, I would not trade this high of day, low of day. It just did it. Okay? It just did it. So at the moment, we're just watching. I'm turning it off. You can't do that. But you could move your orders out of the way. Or you could just leave them there and watch. You don't have to take the trade if you're not in auto mode, right? So for now, what I would do is leave my entry very close to the high of day. You can adjust your low entry for a real entry, all right, below the previous open. And what we want to see is a pullback, a little bit more of a pullback. Otherwise, the high of day, low of day is not a valid setup, and it might make more sense to change it to a VWAP. All right, so we'll just keep an eye on the YM for a moment. Our oil trade, right click, we're going to put our reverse continue. We do it every morning. Now, yesterday we had a lousy oil trade, and yesterday I had crappy trading. See what happens on the magnet when you break the area and you're not automated? You get a blinking, and that lets you put yourself in the trade discretionary by pressing the button. Okay? But we're not interested in taking that trade. It's a little bit too close to the high. You could have, there's no law that says you can't if it goes and hits the second target. It's a $100 trade. All right. But that was a trade I wasn't really planning on taking because it just made the high. Okay? So back to our reverse continue on oil. Change the breakout to reverse continue. One position, target of 20, and a stop of 20. And that's our oil reverse continue. Right now, I am trading in my funded oil account. Reverse CL continue. All right. Apply it. Okay. So we have a reverse continuation set up for oil. Let's take a quick look at oil on a longer chart, 15-minute. Obviously, oil's extremely bearish this morning, right? Extreme. I don't know that I want to get filled long this morning, but so the last 2 weeks, if we traded what we think, we would have done better on our oil trade than had we just left it alone. Normally, if we just leave our trades alone, they do fine because they're tested, they're vetted. But our oil trade for the past 2 weeks, as we said, has become a difficult trade. Made money the day before yesterday. Yesterday did not. All right. So it's a tough decision this morning. Nevertheless, because I'm trading it in my funded account, I'm still going to trade a low risk version of the trade, which means one contract. But it's fascinating. On that 1 minute chart, on the 15-minute chart, oil's extremely bearish. Now we haven't done many magnets on oil. We just haven't. Oil hasn't moved well enough really to be a great candidate. It's moving, obviously. This week it's been extremely volatile, more volatile than normal. Our range trade, our second trade on oil, is the following. I just want to look at one thing. Where is this account in terms of it getting blown up? This is a funded account. I've been working so hard to keep it alive. I've been struggling with this account. It's back over 50, but its liquidation is 49,389. Okay? So it's 700 bucks roughly. That's why I'm being more careful with it. You could also trade micros on the oil open, in my opinion. It's not a bad low risk way to trade the oil open. Good morning, Graybeard. So here's the setup I'm going to use. And I was tempted to only want to do a short, and that you can decide at the last minute. So we have a range trade. The range ends at 9:00:40. That's when our range ends. Normally we trade two positions for 8 ticks and 20 ticks. Good morning, RD. With a 20 tick stop. I'll maintain the 20 tick stop, but I'm going to trade one position with a target of 20. With a target of 20.
Nasdaq 100 futures extend pre-market gain to 1%.
If the market moves 12 ticks in my favor. Let's move the stop to +9. All right, +8. Stop to +8. Market moves 12 ticks in my favor. Moving the stop to +8. The range start time, 8:59. One tick above the range, one tick below the range. Show the range graphics on chart. All right. That's my range trade. Choose the account you're trading it in. Label it oil range. Okay. If you want to save the template, I do apply first. Then I go to template. Then you go to save. Then you type in oil open range and date it today. For me, I don't care what you call it. Call whatever you want, but date it today. All right? Always date your templates. Date every file that has to do with trading or trade room, so you always know what you did at the time that you're looking for. So if you load something a week later, you'll know what you did a week ago. It's really important to date your files, I think. Anyway, so we have our oil range. One more time, the whole setup. We're ending the range at 90040. The normal setup, everyday setup, is position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Target 1 is 8, target 2 is 20, and the stop is 20. If it hits the first target, target 1 stop move, BE -4. Okay? That's the regular 2 contract trade when the report was behaving, when the news was behaving. We're struggling a little bit on our oil setup. Same everything though. Don't forget the start time is 8:59. Ticks above the range 1, ticks below the range 1. Show the graphics on chart. Show the graphics on chart just says, hey, draw the range so I can see it. That's all. It'll still calculate. It'll still work as a range trade if it doesn't draw it, but you won't see it and it'll confuse you. So our range ends at 90040. The oil market opens at 9. But I'm going to trade one position to reduce risk with a target of 20. And if the market goes, it really should be 10 ticks in my favor. Move my stop to BE +8. Now that might be a little bit close to getting stopped out, so I'm going to make it a 7. If the market's moving very fast, which usually it doesn't on this trade, you don't want to have your move and your stop right on top of each other. In a slow moving market, you can get away with being closer. So the range starts at 8:59, it ends at 90040. A one position trade is a position 1 is a 1, target of 20, stop of 20. If the market moves 10 ticks, move the stop to BE +7, +7. All right? Choose the account you're trading, label the trade, oil range, apply it, okay it. So now our oil range trade is also ready to go. The YM, we don't really have a high of day, low of day magnet today. You can move your high of day order out of the way. No, you know what? We can't. We have to go the other way on it. We have to go down. We can do that. We can do that. I have to talk to the programmer about that. The problem here is you don't want to do, you wouldn't normally put this trade on. You don't want to put on a high of day, low of day trade where you are constantly testing the high of day, low of day. The software is calculating. That's why that order entry line keeps moving. The software calculates the high of day, low of day. In the new version, we can turn that off and just deal with signals. All right. This is not a high of day, low of day magnet this morning. It's a VWAP magnet, I think. So if you're going to trade the VWAP this morning, the VWAP is 49,393. So you would make sure your magnet trade is unchecked. All right. Choose custom level, 49,393. That's where the order is going to show up. All right. Target can still be default 3 ticks. All right. Target 1. In the new version, we would actually target the VWAP. We have a way to actually target the VWAP automatically. All right. You don't. You're just using target 1 tick offsets. I would actually make it 20 ticks or so on the old version. Now I'm watching oil also.
US effective federal funds rate unchanged.
But the
at
way you're going to
4%.
trade, you need that custom level. All right. You need the custom level. You got to have the custom level. All right. 49,393. That's the VWAP. So what'll happen is stop is whatever, 50, let's say. We have one, I just want one position, not two. One position to target the VWAP. All right. And generally what's going to happen, what you expect, you're going to get an order entry line at the VWAP. Okay, but you're going to put it above. Why? Because we're going down to the VWAP. So our entry is if price goes down to the VWAP, that's where we want to enter. And I would make that automatic. I think it's a really good shot that it's going to do it. The YM is going to test the VWAP. If you just want to watch, that's fine. Just watch it.
Order submitted.
Now there's our oil trade. I guess I'm letting it do what it's going to do. Not trying to outthink it. Right now it looks like it's going to fill as short.
Order submitted.
So I'd like to see a test of the low. Now it was very bullish before we got this little pullback here. So let's see what it does. All right. Let's see if we get some follow through to the downside. Now, if you want to reduce your risk significantly, you could put your stop above the range if you want to. That's a pretty small stop. All right. Now, once again, if I would have used my what do I think is going to happen on this trade, little beanie, thinking beanie, I wouldn't have allowed a short. And this is what we're one of the struggles on this trade that has become difficult. Now, it worked on Monday, but Monday was holiday trading. It wasn't really normal trading, right? But I think oil's darn bullish. It's not bearish. It was really bullish on the charts. You have significant resistance at the VWAP at 60. That's significant resistance. I would be, now right now, the signals are still, the squeeze is still short. Doesn't mean it's going to stay short. I think it's going to change and go long. If the squeeze signal goes long, I'm really tempted to exit this oil trade because I do believe we're on the wrong side. Now, I'm kind of losing my mind a little bit. We did have pretty bearish action also, right? Going back in time. But clearly now the signal is saying we're on the wrong side. Now, it didn't change yet, but it's on the verge of changing. Now it's changing. I don't think I want to stay in this oil trade to watch it stop out. So what would you do? I would just shrink my target. I just hate saying I'm wrong, but I'm wrong. It's not, you're never 100%, but it's clearly working against us. All right, so I've shrunk the stop. I'm not going to close it because no, but we're one tick away now.
Order filled.
Okay, so the question is, do you go in on the other side? I don't know that that's the greatest trade either, because right now the trend, there still is bullish trend. Now I'm turning off the range. Looking at that 15-minute chart, we might just be caught in a minor retrace. That's what's very frustrating about this trade. I could have put my stop at resistance, but that's 18 more ticks away. It's $200 more. And I don't want to destroy this account. I'd rather take a little bit smaller loss. But my gut is I still think we're going to test the low. But I'm not sure that I'm confident enough in my scalping today to do it in my funded account. So if I test the low, I think I'd rather do it in an account that won't really do me any serious damage. And I'm not sure, right now you don't have a good signal to take a short. I think the short might be at the VWAP. If it gets to the VWAP, that's where I'm interested in taking that short. Right now we're in the middle of nowhere, right? We're in the middle of nowhere, so to speak. Not really, but you understand what I mean. We're waiting on the YM. We have a VWAP test. I'd like to see that happen at the open, not until the open. All right. You can turn off your auto because I don't want to get filled moving down. I'm not 100% sure I want to get filled down at all on the YM. It's trending up. Yesterday was a huge up day, and the news wasn't bad at all. The only real thought of why the VWAP is a good test is just because it's there, and it would be a pretty good, just a chop around on the YM after the open. I think after the open, I'm interested in letting it chop around and hit the VWAP. I think that's not unreasonable. All right. I think it's a real possibility. I don't want to do it now because the market's not busy enough, not volatile enough. I'm removing the oil range. So as I said, I think we're going to get a
Zelensky's
test of the
criticising Sweden
low,
for not using frozen Russian assets.
but it's very difficult to say where that's going to start from, right? So one thing I need to do is shrink my oil chart because we want to get ready for our MNQ open, which has still been a solid open. The MNQ, NQ, people have been doing well with the open, the 930 open. So we need a chart. I noticed there was a Ninja update today. I didn't do it yet. Usually I won't do an update right before a trade room. Most cases I'm not afraid to take Ninja updates the day they come out. Usually they're pretty solid. So NQ 326. We have a YM reverse continue possibility, and we still have our YM magnet. I'd like to see the YM pull down a little bit. I don't care if the YM chops around right now. I prefer if it doesn't fill. Now the buttons are a little wacky. I would prefer if it doesn't fill before the market open. All right, which is 9:30 obviously. I'm turning the magnet on just so if I don't forget, I don't want to forget at the market open. Now look, oil's still going up, so our getting out might not have been wrong, but there's still, it was very bearish this morning.
Zelensky says, why can Trump stop tankers and seize oil, and Europe can't do this with Russian oil?
But just goes to show it's extremely complicated to try and know where the market's going to go on an open. Now we're getting to very important resistance. What did I say? That I would be interested in the short at the VWAP. If it doesn't break this short, so I would put a stop 5 ticks above the VWAP, right? So if I want to do what I said,
Order submitted.
uh-oh, what account did I trade that on? Did I trade that in my wrong account? I did. That's all right. All right. So my stop is 5 ticks roughly above the VWAP. All right. Let's see what kind of follow through if we get any. If we get any. MNQ 0326. Okay. So we have a reverse continue to set up. I want to set up two things on the YM, on the MNQ. We have our normal breakout. Let's set that up first. Our market open breakout. Loading the template. MNQ new open. Going to right click it and date it. Rename it. Today's date is the 22nd. And we're going to load it. And our MNQ is 929.59. Our bracket is 40. And I've got a couple of contracts on target 1, one contract on target 2. First target is 30, second target is 100. The stop is 125. The big thing that I've been doing that's getting me taken out of all my trades, and almost all the NQs have been winners,
According to
MNQ.
Breakpoint, France
But I'm
bought
getting
Russian
taken out of
oil
most of my
tanker
trades
next
because
range.
my stop is aggressively set to break even. So I'm going to set my stop to break even minus 10 this morning and see if that helps me survive. Now I definitely hate, look at the momentum going against us on this oil trade. That's very bad. BE minus 10. I'm going to set the time to 0. We're going to look at our bracket on Sim.
Order submitted.
All right, we're
Order
going to leave it
canceled.
where it is. Put the time back to 9:29. 59, bracket of 40, target of 30 and 100, stop of 125, BE minus 10 on the first target. That's our market open. We trade it every morning. See if we
Zelensky
can
says
survive
NATO
in
will
that
help
trade.
protect Greenland from Russian ships.
I usually put a reverse continue on the MNQ. Change the breakout to a reverse continue. Couple of contracts. We'll do a 40 tick target and a stop of 75 for a discretionary scalp. That's all it is, a discretionary scalp. We sometimes use it. MNQ reverse continue. But even more important, what I'm very interested in on the market opens now are the reversal signals. We see them almost every morning. Almost every single morning we see them. Now, you're not going to see them if the market isn't making new highs and new lows, but very often at the open, it is making new highs and new lows. All right? So I'm going to put a magnet on the MNQ just for signals.
Zelensky says they discussed air defense for Ukraine with Trump.
So we're going to label it MNQ magnet. All right. I'm going to put it in my funded account. This is discretionary. All right. It's discretionary. The signals are magnet trade enabled is off. I'm just looking for signals. Okay. So I have a position, let's say 2 contracts. Well, I don't even have to do that. We're not doing that. All right, I'm not trading it in the magnet. I'm going to trade it with the reverse continue. I'm just looking at signals, all right? And I'll talk it through if it happens. High of day and VWAP signals is what I'm looking for. All right, that's it. I'm going to apply it and OK it, turn it on, and wait for the open. First thing we're going to pay attention to is just our breakout. Our breakout's going to take place. All right. And we'll manage that. That trade I'll manage. YM, the market's bullish. So we don't have a high of day, low of day trade. You got R1 way up above there. You know, you could do a custom level magnet R1 trade. That's not unreasonable, right? Definitely not unreasonable. I was looking for the VWAP test to the downside. I think the R1 is probably a smarter trade because it's so bullish. The question is it going to remain bullish at the open? I can easily change to an R1 by targeting R1 instead of the VWAP. That's one of our built-in targets. All right. Let's see what the market does over the next 5 minutes. Oil, it's not really following through. Signals did change in our favor. It may just kind of hang around until the open. Unbelievable gold, 4,800. Nitin, I hope I didn't screw up. Hang on. There's no Intel. Oh my goodness. If there's Intel earnings today, they were not on the calendar when I made the
Zelensky says
schedule.
Europe advances
They were
further
not on
ahead
the
of NATO
calendar when
targets
I
against
made
the
the
US.
schedule. So, damn it. That's a big problem. This job is hard. There will be a room for Intel earnings. There will be a room. That's a tough one because of the timing. These 4 o'clock earnings are really tricky. Now, I'll go through my notes 100 times and we'll Intel I have significant data on. But I'm a little bit aggravated. It was not on the schedule and I'm more than aggravated. So the history of Intel, it's a 401, and that's the problem. That's the problem. We have a setup. Definitely have a setup. Now notice that you have a YM reversal signal. It's a difficult time of day to take that signal because you're right before the open. So that's not a signal normally I would take. Oh God, I'm so happy. My daughter passed the test. That was really important. It's really bad though because she's going to leave the country probably. In Nitin, thank you for the heads up. Wasn't on the schedule. Everyone, you'll get an email. There will be a room for Intel. Nitin, you have a full-time job, right? Okay, just curious. I'm looking for a trade room intern. All right, so I'm just watching all these markets. There's not, we don't have a big, anything big to do at the moment other than wait for these markets to open, right? That's what we're waiting for. Okay, I've updated the trade room lobby, so, and I will send an email. This oil trade is not working. It's really frustrating. It's not working. I don't think I've had, in all honesty, I don't think I've had a good scalp. No, I take it back. I had a good scalp on oil the day before yesterday. But other than that, my scalping this week has been horrific. It's been horrific. Enough to get a person fired. If I wasn't the only one working here, essentially, I would be fired. Should I tell you everybody the story about my car? My car is like the worst living nightmare.
Zelensky says the documents to end the war
I
in
had to
Ukraine
tow
are
my car
nearly ready.
twice. My mechanic couldn't fix it. I got a new car, not brand new, 2020 Wrangler. It won't start. All of a sudden, it wouldn't start. I'm parked illegally in the city at my son's house. It won't start. Somehow, miraculously, I don't know why or how, it started and I got it home. I joined AAA 2 days ago. Kudos to AAA. They are the greatest. I don't care what anybody says. AAA is the greatest company in the world. I've never had a problem. I've never been mistreated by them. I've never been scammed by them. They've always done what they say they're going to do. And they let me get towed for free, even though I had joined the day before. Usually it's 3 to 5 days. And the second day, so I tow it to my mechanic. He can't fix it because everything's so specialized these days. If you don't have like $1 million in Jeep evaluation equipment, diagnostic equipment, he can't figure out what's wrong. So I have to tow it again. But you can't just tow a Jeep, a 2020 four-wheel drive, because you can't get it out of park. You can't get the car out of park. So if they tow it, they'll destroy the transmission. The tow truck driver has to know how to get it out of park. Do you know what I'm talking about, people? To follow me here. The tow truck driver has to know something. The odds of that happening can often be very challenging. I had a miracle. I had the two greatest tow truck drivers that ever lived, but they really didn't know how to get it at a park. I knew how because I did some chat GPT and reading, so we're pretty sure we got it at a park. But it was needed two people. I had to run the tow truck. No joke. I had to run the controls on the tow truck so the guy could sit in my car and make sure he doesn't destroy the transmission. And I had to tow it to the Jeep dealer, who, as I'm standing there, is fighting with a woman who said, "You told me to pick my car up today. You said it was ready. It's not ready." And the guy said, "Well, what's wrong with it?" And the woman says to him, "What do you mean, what's wrong with it? You're the repair place. How do I know what's wrong with it?" It was like I thought I was in an alien on an alien planet where nothing made any sense. What was the problem, TJ? Was it the alarm security system, the key fob? It might be a defective key fob, I suppose. I don't think so, but I suppose it could be. I did a little reading.
Confirming the
Sometimes you
smart
can get
card is
another
in
key
balance.
fob. And I had a guy come over to try and make me a new key fob, and who knows, maybe he misprogrammed mine. You know how it is when people don't know what they're doing. I don't know anymore. So I've put about 20 miles on this car, and now they don't even have any appointments. So they took the tow, but now it has to just sit there while they wait to get an appointment. There's no appointment for at least a week, and the guy started complaining to me, "We don't have any mechanics." This is like a big Jeep dealer, and the guy's complaining to me, "Oh, we have no technicians." I mean, dude, I don't want to hear about it.
10 seconds.
Fix it. And STFU.
Order submitted.
All right.
Order
Market order
submitted.
accepted.
Order failed.
NQ hits
3,500.
the first
Start
target,
146 million.
expanding my
3,700.
target,
Sell side
trailing
35 million.
down,
Dow 38.
expanding
Buy
my
side
target to the
42 million.
VWAP,
Mag 7. Sell side 35 million.
trailing, trailing, trailing a little bit more, trailing a little more. All right. Oil's not doing much. YM's not going in our direction. See why you don't take those signals before the open? They're not safe before the open, those signals, because anything can happen on the open. Anything. Trailing, trying not to get too close, but I am. Oh, that would have been a nice trail there.
Order filled.
All right, 84. Uh, Easy winner on the MNQ Open. Again, another MNQ Open winner. You know, we may for a couple of weeks just trade the
Stocks are still
the
gaining
930 Open, folks,
1%.
because that trade is working. So you can't use your Subaru, TJ. The car's not usable ever, because if you can't get it started, how do you use it? It just works now. It healed itself. Look, folks, our R1, it was a good thought. It was a good thought, and that's what we should have done. I will take responsibility. Why was it better than a VWAP test? Because the YM was bullish. That was the better trade. That was the smarter trade. Those have been my decisions all week, though. I'm embarrassed to say. Not a great decision. Okay. Now, we have the PCE price test coming up. PCE price index. It's hard to even talk sometimes. My daughter is fluent in two languages, and she took the Italian citizenship test because her partner is Italian and they want to move to Italy. At
USA
least
shares in
until
T-Head rise 4% after a
our
report
government
covering the
changes.
planned IPO of chipmaking unit T-Head.
And it's very sad to me, but I totally get it. Now, oil is starting to work. Subarus are really good cars, don't you think? They're really good cars. They just have constant great reviews, great everything. So then on top of everything else, I take a certain medication, right? I'm going to move my oil stop to.
Order filled.
All right, so we wound up being profitable on our oil account because we took an intelligent scalp that worked. Now oil's going to test the low. I was not going for that big of a target um, just because, but I should have. Honestly, that was a good target, the low. I'm not going to trade again. I'm done on oil. But the scalp, at least it was a good scalp. We used the VWAP as our stop above, right? But you don't want one tick above. You want 5 to 6 to 7 ticks above so that all the newbie traders that put their stop one tick above, you're not involved in their trades. You're smarter than them. All right. So we had an excellent oil scalp. We had an excellent MNQ open winner. We had a YM no trade. Definitely made an error in judgment on the YM, just in terms of what to look for as a trade. We would have been smarter looking for the R1 test on a magnet. Ironically, the MNQ worked for us on the downside. We've seen a lot of mixed movement um, on the YM and the NQ in the morning. YM up, MNQ down. It's not like the old days where they still move together a lot, but there's a lot more, what's the word when something doesn't do the same thing? What's the word? Up and down. You know what I'm looking for, but I can't think of it. But long story short, YM was a perfect R1 magnet. And it's okay. You're not going to make, I don't get upset if I don't get everything right. I mean, sometimes you're not going to get everything right. You're just not. Now, I don't want a custom level anymore. I want off. I want signals on the YM. I want signals. So I want my YM magnet on, and I want signals. So my MNQ magnet, we don't need. Now it's interesting, our MNQ magnet did not give us signals. So we're working on a repair right now to signals. It absolutely, I have an argument, not an argument. I made the programmer rewrite our signal because he has a reason why this was not a signal, but it should have been a signal. If we use ARS standalone, it is a signal. But I want a signal when it's high of day, low of day. That should have been a high of day, low of day signal. So I made him rewrite the routine. And that's why this magnet trade has been so tough to get it out. Trying to get signals. Contradiction, no. But Graybeard, you're thinking the right way. Not contradiction. It's another word for contradiction. It's a trading word. When not fluctuation, you guys are on the right track. It's a trading terminology. When two things go against each other. Now we got to get ready for PCE price. not contrarianism. You're thinking the right way. I'm going to get rid of my oil
Oil
trades.
edges lower as Zelensky signals progress in peace talks.
So we have a YM reverse continue. I'm done with YM. I just wanted to see if there were signals. I guess we're done with MNQ. MNQ is done. Interestingly, we got this is a good signal. This is a good signal, right? I wasn't watching, so I don't know where I could have gotten in there. I just didn't notice it. So it is what it is. Sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you feel like a nut, and sometimes you don't. All right. Let's talk about PCE price. This is another inconsistent fun report. All right. We already have our news set up. It used to be an 8:30 report, and now all of a sudden it's a 10 o'clock report. That's no fun. That means a lot of our testing is rendered meaningless. Okay? That's what that means. It's not contrarianism. We got to come up with this terminology. So PCE price, we've done our homework. We've tried to come up with a setup, um, and it's a lot of risk. This report, you guys. I can't believe we have to have an Intel room. The GC trap has been one of our better setups. GC traps can be very problematic if a report decides to move in one direction only. Okay? And it happens. So you have to be prepared for that
Stocks
type of
descending,
risk.
the Dow Jones
All
up
right?
1%.
Now, I'm looking at our testing on the PCE data. Let me show you our spike sheet. All right? What's a spike sheet? There's a lot of new people. A spike sheet is a sheet that we create based on how did the news move at the exact moment of the news? What was the spike? That's what a spike sheet is. And we have spike sheets for most of the major testing that we do. All right, so on PCE, we have a spike sheet for gold. It's a little hard to see, but our trap trade, if you look at all the moves going back 2 Decembers, the biggest spike we've ever had on this report since 2 Decembers ago is 45 ticks. The report has excellent reversals. Overall, the reversals are good. So we love a trap trade for this. There is some inconsistency, some smaller moves, but still they have great reversals, even the small ones. But there are some smaller moves that we might not get filled. That's the worst that'll happen. We might not get filled. So I'm going to take a shot. I think I can trade it in that almost blown up account. Let me see if I can. It'll either blow up that account that's really damaged. Let me see. Hang on. I have one prop account that's a mess. Yeah, I've got $183 left before it shuts down. So, because this is extremely unknown, this report, I'm going to see if I can trade it in that account. So we're going to go to account number 35, try and save this account. We could make $1,000 on a good trap trade. And we're still on YouTube, everyone. So thanks everyone for watching on YouTube. Just a quick recap. We made money on the MNQ open. We made money on the oil open. After we were initially stopped, we took a scalp that made total sense with a VWAP resistance area at 60 bucks. And oil went down nicely and wound up being positive in our account. And then what did we lose? We had a losing trade on GDP, right? Did we have a loser on GDP or we canceled? No, GDP was a loser. But overall, not bad. All right, GDP, we knew it's a challenged report, just like PCE price. So I'm putting gold up. Everything about this report is kind of troubling. One of the problems now we have is gold is making new highs. I don't think I want to take a short under any circumstances on this gold trap trade. So I will probably not allow it to fill short. Okay. Now, I missed the YM reversal. That's why I had the signals on. I was talking, but we got a great reversal signal. How many ticks available? So far, 120. All right. This is why I'm excited about the new magnet. Honest. This is why I'm excited. Signals. I love the signals. You don't have to trade breakouts. You don't have to trade at the exact moment of the news if you don't want to. Trading around the news, trading around the open are great. Does every signal work? No. Look, we had a signal before the open. That signal I said, don't take it. I wouldn't take it. Too close to the open. We don't take it. All right? My goal is to get this darn magnet released by next week. I'm trying so hard. I would release it if people could deal with a few bugs. That's, the fear is there'll be one person out there that one bug costs them $500 in real cash and they'll get so upset. And we don't want that to happen. Gold trap trade. All right. Gold trap trade on PCE price. Traps are always risky in these current markets because of the behavior of gold in particular. When you're making these all-time new highs every other day, it makes gold tricky. So our breakout, we're going to trigger this trade at 9:59.55. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Tier 1 is 20. And tier 2 35 is awfully scary. It's awfully scary on this report. 35. I will increase the stop. I will increase the stop if I have to. And I will talk through it. It's always as per the DMM RAS because the weekly schedule is made before our testing. Okay? So the weekly schedule, could you trade RTY on this report? We don't have a lot of great testing on the RTY on this one. All right. We haven't done a lot of testing on the RTY on this one. Labeling it GC trap. 20 and 35. I'm thinking 20 and 40. I'm thinking 25 and 50. But I'm leaving it as per DMM, 20 and 35. The stop is 25, but I will not apply it and okay it. I will not allow this trade to take a short. I will move my orders the minute they come on. Um, I will take them off. MGC, I would use a 50 stop, Roz, keeping in mind if you can shrink it after the fill, that's fine. It's not that big a stop. In general, it's a $50 stop. But again, this is not a cash trade. This is an eval trade. All right. Because it's not at its usual time. It's not the usual data. There's so many things strange about this release that don't follow the norms. Okay. That's the reality. That's the honest truth. I am going to put a reverse continue on the chart. Gold, one contract, target of 35, stop of 35. Man, you know, we have all the way through natural gas here. I am so hungry. You cannot believe it. I'm starving. So we have our discretionary reverse continue. GC reverse continue. Do you all have GoPuff by you? Do you know what GoPuff is? And we're trading this in an account that I hope I can trade in. But if I lose 200 bucks, it's going to blow this account up.
In 10 minutes time now at the hour. Do you see the release of the US
Meadow Bear, that's on
today
me
that
because there was a screw up in the time
0.8% on the
when I
Friday
received the
spot 8,
DMM
range of 3 spot 1%
and I
to 3 spot
forgot to
5%
update the
expected.
time.
Month over month,
That's
4
on
spot 3
me.
spot 2% from the
It should
Friday
be
spot 3, range of
59.55.
0.3 to 0 spot 1%.
Anybody who
The core
tried to
PCE
trade it at
closing today at 4.2 spot 8%,
929.55,
unchanged from the prior, with a range of
they
3
don't
spot 1%
understand
to
what we're
3
doing
spot
also,
5%,
right?
and core PCE
If we
month
make a
over month
mistake like
closing
that, a
times at
person
0
should
spot
know
2%
not to
from the prior
trade
0
that.
spot 2,
That's
range of
30
0 spot
minutes
3 to
before
0
the
spot
event.
1%.
That means they didn't look at a
In the
calendar,
US consumer
they
spending
didn't
month over
watch the
month,
news
down 0
results,
spot
and they
5% from
just
the prior 0
randomly
spot
put a
4,
trade on their
and the
chart
range
without
here being
checking
0 spot
anything.
5% to 0
Now,
spot
look, I
2%.
take full
And we look at
responsibility
month
for
over month,
making the
forecast
mistake. I
0 spot
missed it.
4% from the prior
I
0
missed
spot
it.
4. Real
But
personal
heavens to
consumption month over
God,
month, range
nobody
of 0
should have
spot
taken
2%
that
from the
trade
prior
at
0 spot 1.
929.55, right? Do you agree with me? Folks, you agree? Or is it take the trade, don't pay attention to anything? Reverse continue, one position, 35 target. I mean, look, I screw up. I missed it. 35. I spent like 40 minutes on that DMM. I don't like spending extra time on DMMs because that's not actually my job. Reverse continue, 35 target, 35 stop, account chosen. Am I complaining? Yeah, I guess I'm complaining. So we have a reverse continue. Let's double check our trap trade. 10 o'clock trap. Position 1's a 1, position 2 is a 1. If you want to reduce risk on a trap trade, you can trade only the outer tier. So you would do 35 would be tier 1, and the stop would still be 25. That's a way to reduce risk on a trap trade. But that means it's got to be the bigger move to get filled the second tier. I'd say about 70% of trap trades, 60% or so, only the first tier fills. You don't always get a second tier fill. Trigger at 9:59:55. 9:59:55. And our tier 1 is 20, tier 2 is 35. All right, label it GC trap, choose your account.
Burnham
Spread your
says,
chart a
"Hello
little
there,
bit
EMP
so the
Morning
orders
Hand
aren't all
Trader, according
scrunched
to your
up.
report."
Turn on your trap trade. You should be able to see the cancel button. That's important. All right. The one button that's important is the cancel button. That means you've got to widen your chart horizontally to see it. Okay. You must see the cancel button. The final button is combine on a trap trade. Cancel is cancel the outer tier. Now I'm getting rid of my YM because we have an MNQ set up for this report.
Burnham says he's
So
focused on his role as Greater Manchester Mayor.
MNQ 0326. Whoops. MNQ. Thank you. Setting up a quick, oh, it's a nice magnet for MNQ. Really nice magnet, folks. I would trade a high of day, low of day magnet on the MNQ on this. That would be my trade. High of day, low of day. I think it's better than the breakout. MNQ, high of day, low of day. Percent proximity, make it a 10. Two positions. Position 1's a 1, position 2's a 1. All right, or I'm making it a little bigger. I love this trade. Target 1 is -3. Target 2 would be 15 ticks through the magnet. The stop is 75 ticks. 100. 100 on the stop. It's MNQ. It's a $50 stop.
So in 5 minutes time now at the top of the hour.
High of day, low of day magnet. Label it
Data. This data for
MNQ
November.
magnet.
Year over year, forecast 2.8% from the prior 2.8, with a range of 3.1 to 2.5% expected. Month over month, forecast 0.2% from the prior 0.3, with a range of 0.3 to 0.1% expected. Core PCE year over year, forecast 2.8%, unchanged from the prior.
MNQ magnet. High of day, low of
2.5%,
day.
and core month
Apply
over
it.
month,
I'll show you
forecast
what's going to
0.3%,
happen when you turn your
unchanged from the
magnet
prior,
on.
with a range of 0.3% to 0.1%.
Now, if we get too darn close,
Month over month, forecast of 0.5% on the prior 0.3,
here's our
with
orders.
a
I
range
want to
of
get
0.7 to
filled
0.4%
under the
expected.
pre
Personal income month over month,
the
forecast
open
0.4%,
previous open,
unchanged from the prior. Personal
and
consumption,
obviously I
forecast
want to get
0.3%
filled
from the prior 0.1%.
where we have a little profit, but I like this setup. I don't want to get filled before the news, but I'm putting it on auto, all right? And I'm also putting a reverse continue on the chart. MNQ reverse continue. 50 tick target, 75 tick stop. This is discretionary, right? I'm actually trading this full transparency in my funded MNQ open account. MNQ reverse continue. If the magnet fills, I like it. I like the trade. You know, trading discretionary is always discretionary. You make a decision, yes or no. But I don't want to get filled before the news comes out. I might be a little big on my entry here. So looking at our sell, it's at 512.75 and our target is 484-ish. So that's 60. That's a lot of nice ticks. That's nice. That's a lot of ticks. That'd be a good trade. I like the magnet better than the breakout, but if you want to trade the breakout, it's a bracket of 40. Targets of 25 and 60. It doesn't matter what the proximity is, Roz, just whatever. The reason it doesn't matter is because you're moving the order line anyway. That's my whole point about not worrying about what the proximity is. You don't ever have to think about it. The default is going to be probably 3 or 5, and really, you never have to even think about it. You're almost always going to move your orders, the order entry, and that's why it doesn't matter. It only mattered when we first invented the setup and we didn't have movable order lines. Now it doesn't matter. We don't even think about it. All right? I always move. I want entry is not magic. All right? On a magnet, I'm looking for, if I don't have price structure that's obvious where an entry or a sale should be, then I'm looking for 20, 15 to 20 ticks of profit. This is much more. I just think if price starts, I think we are a little problematic on the short side because the market's bullish. I know it's far away. It could have been a VWAP custom level trade. The beauty of the new version, you can real quick change to a VWAP on the control panel. I'm going to leave everything where it is. If price goes up, 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 we'll get a long fill for a test of the high. See how it's pulling off the low right now? Here comes the news. The big trade is gold because that's a lot of money if you're trading it. I almost always move the bar, the proximity, because remember the proximity has
Order
only,
submitted.
oh, I can't trade that account, guys. I'm sorry. Can't trade that account. News is out. I'm not seeing any results anywhere.
Still waiting. 2 spot
It's not
8%,
out.
2 spot
Now it's out.
8% as expected. Month over
As
month, 0 spot
expected
2%, 2 spot
news.
2% as
As
expected.
expected
Core
news.
PCE year over year, 2 spot 8%,
Very,
2
very
spot 8%
close.
as expected. Month over month, 0 spot 2%, 0 spot 2% as expected. Consumer
All right.
spending, spot
Now,
3%,
that
0
gold
spot
trade,
5% as expected.
I can't
Personal income,
tell
0
at
spot
this
3%,
moment
0 spot 3%
if that
as
would have been a
expected, up
good
0 spot
trap or
4%.
if it would have
And
blown the
personal
trap.
consumption at 0 spot 3% as expected.
I can't tell because I don't know where the fill was, honestly. It's a gigantic, it's a big move, but I don't know where the fills were at this point without running a replay. I'd have to run a replay. Okay, the NQ breakout was good. Nitin had a great one. And
So those there
the
were the
magnet,
November,
not so
November,
great.
October core
Another great
PCE at spot
decision by
3%,
the
month over
trading
month in
master.
line with
The
estimates.
trading master.
Year over year at 2.7%, also in line with
I
estimates.
don't
Month over month,
think
October
that I
really
want to
nice.
let it test the low. I don't think I want to get filled short because the news was expected. The the indexes are bullish, but it's pulling down. I don't think it's going to fill anyway. Let's watch for a minute. So the NQ breakout was good. MNQ would have been good. Shoot me. I'm just the messenger. Turning off the gold trap, which is off because it couldn't trade it. So that account's done. I have to reset that account. I have to reset it. Did anyone do the trap? Did anyone do the trap? Did it blow through the trap? TJ, did it blow through the trap? Oh, it was terrible. It was too much of a move. That was the fear. That was my fear. Sorry. Nitin, let me, the MNQ breakout was good. I mean, this trade has not been a gold breakout,
And US
I don't
October
think,
personal
ever.
spending rises spot 3%,
So
was
it's
higher than the
like
estimate of spot 1%.
trading at the wrong time. Everything about it created extra risk today. That's part of the problem. So it would have blown up that account clearly would have blown up that account. But the MNQ setup was good. I'm going to not take a short now in my funded account because now we have natural gas, I guess. I have to take 5 minutes to heat coffee. I'd like to make a sandwich. I don't have enough time. Let me put the charts on natural gas. Is NG really on 2 still? Is it still on February? We need to check.
US stocks just holding gains after the PCE data. S&P still up around spot 2%.
TJ, I'm really sorry about that. Really sorry about that. Everybody on
The notes
YouTube,
say the October prices
thanks.
are derived from the September and November CPI
Yes,
geometric
NQ. Yep. I would think that MNQ looked like it was fine too. Everyone on YouTube, thanks for joining us. Everybody, we will be back sometime tomorrow morning, I'm sure, for the open. So I'll see everybody on YouTube tomorrow morning. Hit the like button and the notification so you know the next time we're streaming.